can hear me, please give a thumbs up and put that in the chat that you can hear me, because I just want to make sure that I've started this video pretty early right now, like I would say 2 minutes early, because I wanted to be very sure about it that we are not running behind of time. Usually what happens, I have to check a lot of things, which creates an issue for me. I hope I am live. Yep, I am live. And yeah, obviously the advertisement part which is going to be there. Just want to confirm if I'm audible or not. In case if you're watching this video, please let me know you can hear me or not. I am not sure. Okay, I'm live. I'm loud and clear. Fine. Oh, awesome. I'm loud and clear. Fine. Awesome guys. Awesome. So the topic today which we are going to choose is obviously choosing your first programming language. But I would say, first of all, if you're here right now, give me a thumbs up, because at 9 p.m. on Friday night, I am coming live for you guys. Okay, so I need at least 10 thumbs up, because obviously this is the audience which we are expecting. Secondly, please make sure that you are sharing this video with your friends, because they will be actually enjoying. And let me just put in the comment, everyone, we are live. Shoot in your questions. So obviously, as usual, what we do, if you have some questions, put them in the comment section, put them in the live chat. You are going to get a proper response. I would say a real-time response while watching this video. So it's not going to waste your time. It's going to be just fruitful for you. So please make sure that you are putting in the question, because I'm here for you. I can do anything. I can go out with my friends. I can enjoy. I can party right now. But I'm sitting right now in my home and obviously making sure that you guys can hear me. Okay, so please make sure that whatever questions you have, the comment section is right below the chat section. If I talk about, I don't know where it is visible for you guys. Secondly, please share it with your friends so that they can also become part of this awesome and amazing video which we are making today. I mean, the live session which we are having. Okay, fine. So I won't be wasting any of your time anymore, because I feel that your time is very important. So let's quickly get started with the agenda which we are going to discuss. So the topic which we are discussing today is choosing our first programming language. Now, I am coming live specifically for students who are in first year or in second year, because this is the very good time for you to make this decision. Because if you're going to make this decision, this is going to impact your life a lot. If you want to switch your career from non-tech to tech, this is again a live session for you, because obviously you must be worried. You must be seeing people are saying go for Java, go for JavaScript, go for this, go for that. This confusion, I want to get it clear. So if you're a student or who has no idea about tech, please make sure you're watching this video, because it's going to be ultimately fruitful for you guys. Now, I just want everyone who is right now live, please make sure you're giving a thumbs up so that I can be motivated. And obviously, if you have some questions, put them in the comment section, put them in the chat section. I'll make sure that you get the answer. Secondly, I come live every single day at 9 p.m. from Monday to Saturday. So let's start with the very first question. I want to choose my programming language. But first of all, before that, you have to understand one thing. What is your vision? What do you want to become after learning a programming language? This is a very important question which I'm asking you. Because if you can answer this question, you will be able to understand why I'm asking this question. So currently, if you have this question like what is your aim related to learning a programming language, I would say put that in the comment section. Let me know why you are learning a programming language and what is your aim of learning a programming language. Majority of the time, people will say, my aim is to get a good job. My aim is to work at Microsoft. My aim is to work at Google. My aim is to actually, this is my dream job. These are wrong aims. I'm nothing bad. Obviously, getting a good job is obviously a good thing. But the question is, you can do this by pursuing a law degree as well. You can do this by pursuing a management degree as well. You can do this by pursuing a human resource field as well. Like obviously, Microsoft, Google need people who can manage the human resource. They need people who can do talent acquisition. So this is a wrong question. The right answer to this is, what are you aiming, is quite simple. What do you want to become? Do you want to become a web developer? Do you want to become a software developer? Do you want to write applications for server? Do you want to become a game developer? Do you want to become an app developer? Applications which run on mobile phone. Why I'm telling you this? Because if you have the idea about it, you will be able to make a decision quite faster. If you're not sure about it, let me help you out. A full stack developer is someone who, a full stack web developer is a person who can build applications like Twitter, Zomato, Swiggy, Flipkart, the web versions of them, from the front end part to the back end part. If you don't know what is full stack, please go watch my previous live, yesterday's live, so that you can understand that. Software developer is a person who manages or makes software for your PC or your desktop, if I talk about. So MS Office is the right example of it. Google Chrome is again a desktop application, if I talk about, if you're using on your laptop. And I would say any games which you're playing, again, that's a totally different sector if I talk about. But yes, these applications which run on your desktop, the bigger screen, if I talk about desktop or laptop, they are known as softwares. Then we have server applications. Server applications are something which sits in the server, or I would say which are there to process something inside the server. So please make sure that you are able to understand what I'm talking about. Then there are game developers. Everybody loves to play game, but do you know there are people who are actually developing games? And I have some pop-up on my screen. So you have to be very sure about it, what do you want to do. And finally, the thing is becoming an app developer. An app developer is someone who builds application for mobile phones like Android and iOS, or I would say Apple devices. So first of all, you have to decide what is your aim. Because if you can decide that, I can precisely answer that what you should be doing. Okay. So once you have made this aim, if I talk about, next move is to actually learn about the languages in depth. Now, before learning about the languages in depth, there are some parameters which we have to follow. There are some important parameters which we have to follow, because if we are not going to follow those parameters, we are going to struggle a lot. So what are those parameters? Again, please make sure you're noting them down. First parameter is the scope of the programming language. What is the scope of a programming language? The scope of a programming language is how relevant it is. If you have heard about languages like Visual Basic, if you have heard about languages like Fortran, F#, if I talk about COBOL, these languages are maybe 40 years old. They were used 40 years ago. I'm not saying that they are not relevant, but I don't see anyone using them. I'm not blaming that these languages are not good. What I'm trying to say is people are using something which is relevant. So please make sure that you are aware of the scope of the language. Then, how good is the community for the language? You need support. If your father is a programmer, this example is not for you. But if your father is not a programmer, or maybe your mother is not a programmer, this is not the example for you. You cannot go to your parents and say, hey, I'm struggling with this programming language, can you help me? If they are into programming, obviously they can help you out. But if they are not into programming, you need someone else to actually fix that issue for you. And who's going to do that? Your brother or sister. If they know programming, they can do it for you. Otherwise, the community for this particular programming language is going to help you. So please make sure that the community around this programming language is big enough so that if you're facing some, I would say, basic issues as well, they can step forward and they can say, Avinash, you are making a mistake and this is how it should be done. Why? because as a programmer, it's your responsibility that you are productive. As a programmer, it is your responsibility that all the deadlines are met, and it is your responsibility like whatever features you are planning to ship are shipped. So the second parameter which we have to discuss is the community. How great, or I would say how big, is the community around this programming language? The third parameter which we have to discuss is the maturity of the language itself. Is it stable? With stability, I mean if you're planning to use this particular programming language, I hope that it's not going to crash out. Just imagine you're building a self-driving car using a programming language, and that programming language is not mature and it is breaking every single time. Just imagine what will happen to the person who is driving that car where the softwares were built using this programming language. Just imagine what will happen. So please make sure the language has a very good maturity level. With maturity, I mean it is a bit old enough, I would say. I would not consider the age of this particular age here in this particular context of first programming language. But with maturity, I mean how stable is this particular programming language? Because if it is stable, it is going to help you out, and it is ultimately going to help you, strive in this industry, if I may. The fourth parameter which I would say is how easy it is to learn a language, or I would say learn this language, and how fast you can actually go from learning to actually implementing. Why? Let me know in the comment, do you want to learn forever? Do you want to learn a programming language for maybe till 60 years of your life and then look for a job? Obviously, the answer is no. So we have to make sure that we are not learning this programming language forever. I'm not saying that you have to just learn it for a month and then start implementing. What I'm trying to say is that if it is easy to learn, then you will be able to learn it faster, and you can move towards the complex concepts even faster. I'll repeat. If a programming language is easy to learn, you can learn it quickly, and after that you can actually move to the complex concepts quite faster. And if you can move to the complex concept faster, then you will be able to navigate your career quite easily. I hope I'm making sense, and obviously if you have some questions, put them in the comment section, or I would say live chat, because this is why we are here. The fifth and the final point is who is using this programming language. I'll repeat, who is using this programming language? With who, I don't mean an individual person. I mean maybe community. I mean maybe a company, or maybe group of companies, or maybe different companies. Maybe government is using that. Maybe big corporations are using that. This is also important. Why? Because if big corporations are using this programming language, that means it is tested in their environment. I'll give you a simple idea. Zomato and Swiggy, they use almost every single programming language which is available on the earth. They use almost every single programming language which is available on the earth. Why? Because every programming language has its pros and cons. So they have to make sure that their application is not getting all the negative points of a programming language. So if those companies are using, that means they are serving so many people. So it is trial and I would say tested. It is battle tested in their environment. I'm sorry. So you have to be aware of it, that this programming language, if it is used by some companies, or I would say big companies or a group of companies, that means it is battle tested and I can actually use it. So this is where the advantage comes for us. I'll repeat the parameters with which you have to decide a programming language. First of all, the scope of the programming language. Second is the community around the language. Then we have the maturity of the language. Then we have how easy it is to learn that programming language. And fifth point is who is using that language. I hope this makes sense for you. Now we will be moving towards the various programming language. Now, obviously, if you have a confusion related to a programming language, again, I'm repeating a lot of time. Make sure you put in the comment, because the idea here for me to come live is obviously answer your queries on real-time basis, because if I can answer your queries on real-time basis, it is going to help you a lot compared to just fiddling around, or maybe just choosing something, or maybe just looking at various different YouTube videos and thinking about it. Okay, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? Fine. So let's now filter out the parameters. I will be choosing 5, or I think I have 6 programming languages in front of me right now, and I will be rating them based on the parameters which we have discussed. So first of all, we have Python. The scope of Python is very good. I will say VG. I would say 4.5 stars. The scope of Python is 4.5 stars because obviously this is a very widely used programming language. Community wise, I would say it is 5. Maturity wise, I would say it is 5 because it is one of the oldest programming language. How easy it is to use, I would say around 4, and I have a reason behind that. And who is using it? So obviously almost big companies, like if I talk about Instagram uses Python as the main programming language. Google uses Python as the main programming language. So you can imagine Python has such a great future. Let's come to Java. Scope of this programming language, 5. Community around this programming language, 5. Maturity of this programming language, 5 stars if I talk about. Easy, again, I would say 4. Who is using this? Amazon, Google. These are the 2 big giants who are using this programming language of Java. Let's move to the third language, which is JavaScript. Scope of the programming language, I would say kind of 4. Community around this language, 4.5. Maturity of this programming language, I would still say kind of 4, because this is fairly new language and it is actually gaining some momentum right now. How easy it is to use, like obviously I would say 4 again. And who is using it? So again, big companies, like almost all big companies who have web applications, they are using JavaScript because that's the only language with which you can build your web applications for the users. So almost every company, you can talk about Meta, you can talk about Google, you can talk about Microsoft, you can talk about Amazon, everyone is using this. Then we have Ruby as a programming language. So scope of this language, I would say 3. Because what is happening, Ruby is now going into kind of a downhill for the reason that a lot of people are not comfortable using that. So like that is the reason I've said it has a scope of 3. Then community around Ruby, I would say 4. Maturity of this programming language, again 4. Easy to use, again I would say 4. Who is using it? Twitter, GitHub. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Basecamp is one such startup. If I talk about, it is using that. Next programming language, and again, if you have a programming language, put that in the chat section so that I can answer for you. Next programming language is C#. Now, this is probably the second language in my life I've learned after Java, if I talk about. So again, I have kind of a soft corner towards this language. So scope of this programming language, I would say 3, being very honest. 3 stars if I talk about. Community, I would say 4.5. Maturity of this programming language, it's 5. Easy of using, obviously it is 5 who is using it. Biggest example is Microsoft, because that is developed, because Microsoft is the company which developed this programming language, C sharp. The final language which I'm going to talk about is PHP personal home pages. The biggest example, the biggest user of this programming language is Meta. The product is Facebook. So scope of this programming language, being very honest, I would say 4. Community around this language is 5. Maturity of this language is 5. Easy of learning, it is also 5 who is using it. So like obviously Facebook is using it, Zomato is using it, even Flipkart is using it, I believe. So these are the companies which are using PHP, which is also stands for personal home pages. Now, I would not say that this is the final list of the programming languages, because I'm expecting questions from you guys. I'm expecting some questions from you guys, like what programming language, or maybe if you want to fiddle around with a programming language. But I have covered all the programming languages which I believe are widely used. Now comes the question, which one should I use? Which programming language I should be choosing, Avinash? Because I was hoping in this live session I'll get the right answer for that. So let's discuss. So I asked you a very first question in the very beginning. What was it? What is your aim of learning a programming language? What is your aim of learning a programming language? Do you want to become a full stack web developer? Do you want to become a software developer? Do you want to build server application? Do you want to become a game developer? Or do you want to become an app developer? So let's break it down. So first of all, I'll start with full stack development. And let me actually write it with a different color. Full stack development. If you want to go for full stack development, the simplest programming language and the only programming language which I would suggest is JavaScript. Why? Because with full stack applications, you have to build applications which are running in the background, or I'm sorry, the applications which are in the backend part of the web application, and it is also in the front end part of the application. So please make sure, if you want to learn a programming language for becoming a full stack developer, don't choose anything apart from full stack. But let's say you want to take some risk in your life and you want to move ahead with some other programming languages as well. So the other option is PHP. I would consider it as the second best. And you also have the option of learning or going ahead with Python or Java as well. So these are the programming language you should be learning if you want to become a full stack developer. Now, if you want to become a software developer, now developing applications for desktop is bit complex. Reason is you have to decide either you want to support just the Mac application, the Mac OS, you want to support just the Windows, or you want to support just the Linux, or you want to do some variations around that. If you want to build a software which is going to run on at least 2 operating systems, you have to make sure that you're using a programming language which is cross-platform. You have to use a programming language which is cross-platform. So what you have to do? You have to learn. 2 good examples I have for you is, one is Java and another is Python. These 2 are very good options for you to actually implement, or I would say these 2 are very good example, or I would say programming language if you want to become a software developer. Now you may say, I want to write server applications which are going to run behind the server. The ultimate example for you would be Python or Ruby. The ultimate example for you would be Python or Ruby. Why Python? Because Python has so many libraries that it overtakes anything else. Now, the favorite part. you want to become a game developer. Now, if you want to become a game developer, there are multiple tools which come in. Like we have Unity, we have Real Engine 3D. Again, I'm not sure about the name of it. So what happens? These are the softwares with which using this you actually build the games. Two best programming language I would suggest you is C Sharp or JavaScript. C Sharp or JavaScript, because these are the two widely used languages if you want to become a game developer. And finally, if you want to become an app developer. Now, writing web applications, or I would say writing mobile applications, is a bit different compared to all fields which we have discussed. I'm going to first of all talk about Apple ecosystem. So in Apple ecosystem, you have two programming language. One is Swift and the other is Objective-C. I was actually forgetting the name. Objective-C is very old. It's a mature language. A lot of applications are written on Objective-C, but the new trending language for writing iOS applications is Swift. And learning Swift, you can also write iOS applications as well as Mac applications for their desktop. If you want to go for Android ecosystem, you have two languages. One is Java and one is Kotlin. Again, Java is the oldest programming language which is supported in the Android ecosystem if I talk about, and Kotlin is the new kid in town. But again, these two languages are widely used. Now you may say that I want to develop application for both operating system. I want to support users of both operating systems. So in that scenario, you have one option of learning JavaScript, and you can obviously fiddle around with various tools like React.js if I talk about, React Native, Angular Native, or I would say Native Script. So these are the tools with which you can write native applications which are going to run on both iOS as well as Android. I hope this video is fruitful for you guys. I cannot see any comments right now, so I can safely assume that all the questions are getting you are getting all the answers which you need. But still, if you have some questions right now in your mind, make sure you're putting them in the chat section, or I would say comment section, and I'll make sure that they are answered. With this, I would say thank you for watching this particular live session, and I will make sure that I'll come live every single day at 9 p.m. from Monday to Saturday, because I need something for me Sunday, guys. And I would say, guys, please make sure that you're coming to my live session so that I can showcase the kind of impact which we are creating here, The whole idea here is to make sure that you guys are learning what I intend you to learn. Secondly, the idea here is that you guys can actually see that all the questions which you get, they can be answered on all live sessions. So obviously, if you have some questions, you will be able to get them. So with this, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.